a whole lot of people are afraid to make big moves. Now, once I had a taste of it, I knew I had to fix my thinking because training alone without a powerful mind, it won't move you forward. So I had to start to condition my mind. So I had to start finding people that thought at a bigger level than me. Tonight I wanted to talk about scarcity, poverty, mindset, blockages. And first I want to tell you why I can relate to this. So most of you following me or been in my world, you know I'm an electrician by trade and graduated a vocational school and started a company. What a lot of you I never shared with, some might have heard it, but probably not many, is that, you know, I was in a truck for like 12 years, actually running the jobs, climbing attics, doing all kinds of stuff. And so the question is like, why was I in a truck so long? Like, why couldn't I get out of a truck sooner? Why did it take so many years? I had lots of time and chances to do it different. Actually, one big chance that I had was in the electrical world. If any of you know electrical, there's a guy, Mike Holt. And Mike Holt is he's an electrical guru, right? He's written books on codes. He's written all kinds of stuff in the electrical world. And actually, we went to a seminar, Rob and I, and then at the seminar, I mean, he was just so smart, this guy. And all I wanted to be was smarter at electrical. Not smarter at creating wealth. I didn't want to be smarter at building a business. I wanted to be the best electrician in the world. There's probably a lesson there. So I went up to him and said, hey, this is great seminar. What are you doing for lunch? Can we do lunch together? And he said, yeah. So we had a chance to eat lunch with the instructor, Mike Holt, which was a really big deal. The guy was like famous back then, probably still famous in the electrical world. And do any of you know Mike Holt? Type in Mike Holt in the chat bar there. And he started to tell us at lunch, he's like, you have to be a business owner. You can't be an electrician. And at the time, I wasn't mature enough. I wasn't in a state to understand it. And I was like, yeah, but you don't get it. Like, we do paperwork in the morning. We go do jobs. We come back. Me and Rob split roles. And he was probably just yesing me because I'm sure I acted like I had it all figured out. And so what's the first big problem is that I lost a decade by not being open to listening because my thinking process was hijacked on what I thought business should be like. I want you really to pay attention to this because what I thought business should be like was everybody that I worked for. Because every boss I worked for was always working on the jobs too. You know, they were always out there. They were always pulling the wires. They were doing the stuff. Very few of them were like in the office all the time, never went in the field. So my frame of understanding on how to create a business was based off of my world before. Now, this is a really big lesson here because if that's your framing, then you're stuck in that world. So eventually, I started to break out of that world because nothing more than fatigue. I was fatigued, right? We were getting burnt out. Rob wanted to quit. And that made me have to make a paradigm shift and say, well, maybe we don't know how to do it. So one, I will tell you that if you don't have exactly what you want in life, it's because your brain has been hijacked and has a program in it that will not allow you to change unless you're in a position around a person, a place, a process that can shift that forever. I'm just telling you, like, I lost decades because if I could rewind time, and I know people all the time say, hey, if you could rewind time, what would you do differently? Oh, I wouldn't do nothing because I got exactly. And I'm like, you know, it's such a bullshit story. It's such a good it's what everybody's been programmed to say. No, if I could rewound time, I would have liked if somebody helped me reprogram my beliefs, my training, my thinking, how I thought about things, because I would have saved a decade on the level of success of where I wanted to go. So that's like a really, really big insight for me. So now finally lose a decade, but start to figure out business. But then in business, well, you hit this scarcity mindset. And I had this scarcity mindset in business. And the scarcity mindset was, it was like, wait a minute, like, what if I hire more people and run out of work? Well, what if you never hire anybody and can't ever make any more money? Like, what happens then? And that's all about scarcity. People don't start a business because the scarcity. Like, what if I start it? What if I fail? What if it doesn't win? Right? And then what happens is scarcity is built off of this poverty mindset, right? Like, and most people, if you rewind time on scarcity and poverty thinking, I could almost nail it every time. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your childhood. My family was poor. Boom. Scarcity, poverty mindset. Done. Right there. Like, I could tell you where it starts. Now, a very small percentage, probably less than 5% throughout life, will get motivated enough, resourceful enough that they'll break through to break the chains of poverty and scarcity thinking. The majority, the 95%, will never break through this because their mom and dad said, like, we struggle and we can't have things and bills are a problem and money's a problem. And then maybe your dad died young because he worked himself to death, right? So there's that whole thing that's happening. The second thing is I could immediately go, well, their childhood, they were on their own really young. Like, I was on my own really young. They're trying to figure it out. And they're like, man, if I don't have money, will I eat? Where will I sleep? How will I survive? Now, I lived through poverty and scarcity mindset. And then there was a day, and look, I wish I could have made the decision without this day, but I'm just going to tell you the day. So the day is when you no longer can work any harder. You see your future as a hell and not as a heaven. And you know for a fact, if you don't make a change, if you don't think different, if you don't take a chance. So my partner and I, because he said, I'm out of here, he was going to quit. And I was like, if you're quitting, then I'm out. And then we came back together a couple of days later and said, we just don't know what to do. We don't know how to do it. And then we made a decision to join a group to learn how to do stuff. And then I'll tell you what was good about the group and what was not good without mentioning the name of the group. So the good part about the group was they knew how to run a business. The bad part about the group is they didn't know how to change anybody's thinking. That's how come I've been able to create so many decamillionaires just in the last 24 months alone, is because I understood that marketing, sales, operations, systems, everything to run a business is completely useless without reprogramming your thinking first. Without rewiring the programming, you can spend fortunes of money and move nowhere in progress. So the good thing was I was getting information. The bad thing is it took a while to kick this thing off because we had to figure out how to change our programming. Now, to join this thing, I want you to put in perspective. It's me and my partner, a couple guys working a lot. We're making money. We're under $1 million. We don't have a lot of money, but when we make money, we're making it. But it's not like we have $500,000 or $600,000 in the bank. And now we're going to join an organization, which is $35,000, no payment plan. No, spend a couple thousand a month. No, it's $35,000. So we go, okay, let's just do it. Now we need a software system because the person says, well, if you're going to grow, the person who we went to see says, got to get this. The software system is $35,000. Now, we don't have $70,000, but we got credit card, baby. And we have the willingness to know one thing for sure. And Mike Moeller is on here. What's up, Mike? And Mike can tell you because he lived through a whole lot of this story in my life and Rob's life. Maybe he didn't know all the behind the scenes stress and chaos and brave moves, but he knew enough of them because he was in my world. And I always loved what he did for us and always respected him for his loyalty even today. And so what happens is I'm like, okay, what's the best case? The best case is we're going to spend $70,000. We're going to put it on credit cards and like, there's no turning back. It's burning the boats. You know the story of burning the boats, right? The general lands his army on the island. All the boats are out there. He burns the boats down and tells his army, we only have one choice. See, to break through scarcity and poverty is the fact where you know I only have one choice now. Move forward, burn the boats. But see, poverty and scarcity keeps you. It's like my wife was telling my wife like months ago, I was like, don't ever worry about starving. I will literally, now skin will grow back. I will literally cut flesh off my arm and feed you, and it will grow back. That's how sure I am. I will not starve. I will eat bark. I will hunt. I will fish. I'll eat grass. Like I won't starve, because that thinking helps you break past poverty and scarcity. When you're worried, like you're acting like you're 15 years old again, you'll never take a chance. So me and Rob took a chance. And then once I took a chance, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. And since I am like 100% code of honor guy, always been code of honor. If I commit, I honor my commitment. I mean, I'll tell you plenty of times when we invested all that money that I had questions like, oh my God, what do we do? How do we get more jobs? And I was like, I would never, ever, ever to this day, when I was 19, my dad helped me and my brother get a townhouse. And my brother couldn't get approved for the mortgage, and I didn't know any better. But at 19, my name was on a mortgage for a townhouse. I think the payments were, I think it was $1,900 a month. It might have been $1,300. I think it was $1,900 a month, which was a lot of money. And the interest rate was like 17%. And my dad co-signed on it. And like when my brother moved out, I had this mortgage of $1,900. And I made a commitment that I would never, ever, ever, ever fail or not make a payment, because I never wanted my dad ever to say, you're destroying my name. So I worked 3 jobs. I worked as an electrician. At night, I would go and bang Christmas stakes in to hang Christmas trees on. I taught martial arts. I don't know. Paulie Amato, what's up, man? He was back in those days. I was teaching martial arts 3 to 5 days a week at $10 a class just to make whatever cash I could. But I never missed a payment. I never beat anybody on a bill. You know why? Because to do that would pull me back into scarcity and poverty. It would make me go back to who I was versus who I needed to be today. Today, people are afraid to make big moves. They're afraid to take chances. You know why? Not because of the world. The world is unlimited on chances. I mean, shit. With this can you believe, like, I click some buttons and I'm talking to a lot of you virtually right now and you're watching me. Shit, if I had this 15 years ago when we were growing a company, forget about it. Oh my goodness. The size of the company. I mean, I took it to 32 million. It would have been 132 million. With the technology today, how easy it is to talk to people, to communicate, to deliver massive value. Crap, today, if you just work harder than anyone else, you're going to win more, right? But a whole lot of people are afraid to make big moves. Now, once I had a taste of it, I knew I had to fix my thinking, because training alone without a powerful mind, it won't move you forward. So I had to start to condition my mind. So I had to start finding people that thought at a bigger level than me. Now, first, I was around a lot of big contracting people that were doing 10, 20, 30 million, way bigger size than me. I was a little small potatoes, couple trucks, me and Rob. But what I found out is most of them, they knew how they got there, but they didn't know how they thought to get there. It was all tactical. It was not mind strategic. It was like, oh, well, we got a lot of yellow page ads and we did a lot of marketing and we hired people. But see, that's not enough. That's not enough to grow and scale at the level you want. So I went on a quest and I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to have to change the game here forever. I'm going to have to change it forever. And at one time, once I got, I guess it was like addiction to it. Once I was addicted to learning and knew the power of learning, the most coaches I had at one time was 7. 7. Because I needed a coach to program my thinking. I needed a scalability coach. I needed a marketing coach, right? I needed a relationship coach. I needed an energy and spiritual coach. Like, I knew I needed coaches. So I was willing to invest and take chances that no one else would. Like, I was paying executive time. I was like, credit card? Okay, now I owe 50 grand. Guess what? In the back of my mind said, if you don't commit and pay the 50 grand on time, you will be shoved back in poverty and scarcity of a human. Do you want that? No. Move forward, work faster, think quicker. Why am I on with you at 9:20? Because a lot of people on Sunday night, they're not, right? And that's why I always say, like, people want what successful people have, but they're not willing to do what the ultra successful are willing to do. So now, once I understood that, wait, to move faster, I had to think different and become different again and again. Because what took me from 1 million to 3 million was never going to take me from 3 to 5. I had to become a different person. I had to become a different person. Like Mike Moeller on here, Paulie Amato, a lot of people here, they knew, I mean, back then when I was working in the field, that was one guy. That guy was not going to build a $5 million company. When I got to 5 million, well, that's why I laugh at this recruiting thing. This is, I don't mean to make you pissed off. You can flip me middle fingers in the chat bar. It's perfectly fine. But I'm telling you, recruiting's not a problem. You're a problem. Because strong people don't ever struggle to recruit because people want to work for strong, powerful. If I started a service company today, there's no way in hell that I would have a problem getting people, lots and lots and lots of people from all over to come work for me. Not because I'm bragging about me, because I will only have one focus. I will fight for their livelihood every single day of their life. So if your boss is not fighting for your livelihood, are you going to stay with them or come work with me? You're going to come with me because I'm going to make you a better human first. See, that's the secret sauce, right? The secret sauce is I worked on making people better fathers, better husbands, not just better workers. It's easy to get someone to do electrical, plumbing, HVAC a little better. It's a mechanical system. Come on. Turn a screw, pull a trigger, it crimps the copper. Come on. This ain't rocket science. Like, yeah, there's some technical skill. Got to have some theory, Ohm's law and all that. But like, it's not like becoming a stronger human. Okay? That takes a process. That takes to be around. Like, when I went with Jay Abraham and Rob and I, we had a chance. We donated to a charity. It's a really good charity. And the top donation was $15,000. It was a really good charity. And I went to Rob and said, look, it's $15,000. I was like, that is a lot of money. But it's a really good charity. And you can't get wrong. You can never go wrong giving to a good charity. And we're going to get to spend a half a day with Jay. So it's a double win. Great charity and a half day with Jay. So we did it. Everything we did was breaking past fear. Most people never get to where they want because I'm scared. What if I don't win? You're right. You may not win. And you might have to get up and work harder and faster and smarter. You're absolutely right. And then you will become stronger and quicker and more strategic. You will have to battle those things. So I went and I spent, it was a half a day with Jay. I think it was in California at the Ritz-Carlton. And we met there. And within 2 hours, now I was already doing pretty good. I mean, we were doing probably 15, 20 million at the time. So I'm thinking I'm pretty smart. Until you're around someone who's really smart, like really, really smart, right? I'm thinking I'm a hot diggity dog. You're nothing when you're around a really, really smart individual. So I'm around him, and in 2 hours, he goes, you know, normally after 2 hours, people are burnt out. And in martial arts, we have something like called slapping out. That's like when your arm's about to snap, you slap so your arm don't break. And he's like, so if you're like at that point, I'm like slapping, and he says, we'll just pick it up on some calls after. And I was like, cool. I actually was going to look for the recordings of this because I have recordings of those days and go back and listen to it then. And on the way back, I told Rob, I said, two things. One, I can't believe that dude just smoked me in 2 hours. Like, I can't believe he just fatigued me in 2 hours. I'm at the top of my game, growing the top company. I'm at the top endurance of my life. And this guy comes in the octagon and business mentally just like chokes me out. And I am humbled and motivated. And the first thing I said is, Rob, I can't believe that just happened. Like, dude, like, first off, what did he say for 2 hours? Because it was so high level, I could barely hang on. And it was so brilliant at the end that I knew I had to make changes. I knew I had to make a change. The second thing I said is, he's now my target to master. I am going to do anything that I have to do and be as brave as I have to do to be around this guy year after year until I feel I could hold my own next to him. And I invested in him for over 3.5 years, one-on-one coaching, to the point that I earned the right to stand on stage with him, earned the right to interview him, and earned the right where he respected my knowledge and I respected his. But the fact was, you don't get to do that when you're in scarcity and poverty. Like, there's a number one thing to invest in your life. It's investing in who you are, how you think, and the majority of your time is ripping out the old shame, guilt, traumas, ripping that out and then reprogramming you and putting you into an optimized vehicle on how you think, how you move, how you act, how you manage time, how you communicate with people, your own energy. I'm level 52, okay? 52 years old for some, level 52 for me. Now, level 52, I look at a lot of level 52 people, and they're not looking so good. They're fatigued, they're tired, they're exhausted, they can barely move, their elbows, their back, their knees. At 52, like, I can still scrap. I can still go down. Now, my son, don't get me wrong, like, when I grapple with him, it's a constant me slapping out because he's, he throws me around like a rag doll. But at level 52, why? By design. By design. I'm sitting here, after I'm done with you guys saying it's 9:30, I'll spend 30 to 40 minutes. I'm going to learn something tonight. I'm not done. I got like stacks of books everywhere here. I'm going to spend time learning something. Because here's the deal. To break past scarcity and mindset, you must kill something old and plant something new. You must kill old thoughts and program new thoughts. That's the quickest way. Because if you were brought up in pain and suffering and were broke and you can't afford it and money is evil, type in the chat bar. What are all the things you were programmed with? Money's evil and money's not everything and there's more to life than money, and right? You're filled with all these stories today. In order to make money, you have to work hard and you have to be hungry and you have to be, well, I don't know, is that true, or you got to be smart and tactical, right? There's such a different way of thinking. If I was to tell you something, if it's not me, make it someone. Get around someone who has a world of experience that's going to give it to you real and raw and not going to sugarcoat. I personally will tell you about all the crap I did that I would never do again. And I will tell you the things that I did and how I would do it different. Because there's one important question. You should all write it down that you should ask every successful person. Every successful person. There's only one framing you should ask. Knowing what you know now, how would you do it different? See, that's what I'm telling you. I wasted 10 years because I didn't listen to Mike Holt, because I had my own story. I had my own belief. I had my own framing from everybody I worked for was the boss goes to the job. The boss works on the job. That's how the boss, you know, I had 200 employees, 165 trucks. We did 32 million a year, double-digit profit. You don't go out in the field and run a company like that. And I didn't want to, because actually the tough work, oh man, pulling wires, that was easy. Working in the headquarters, making moving and shaking, making critical decisions, dealing with massive now that was skill. That took power, right? When you have 200 employees, 165 trucks, one's crashing a bridge, one's flipping over, one house is on fire, another one's leaking, like, yeah, like never think I was perfect. I dealt with every catastrophe, every type of lawsuit, ones that I thought would knock me out. Trust me, the lawsuit that started off at 4 million, that thing was pulling on me like a demon from the deep, trying to pull me right to scarcity. What if we have to pay this money? What if we're out of business? What if what if we can't afford it? What if we lose our guys? Like, nah. I remember going through this. I had two partners at the time, Rob and Adam, and I remember telling to them, we have a decision right now. Die or momentum. What are we going to do? I said, you two, deal with this. Deal with this lawsuit thing. Me, watch what I do now. Because when you choose momentum over scarcity, you're going to move forward. You're going to move forward. And I just put relentlessness. And I think that year of the lawsuit, I think our biggest year we added was 6.5 million in 1 year. Why? Because there was no choice. The boats were being burned without our choice. When you face it, now we settled at $1 million, which I still thought was going to kill us. I thought it was going to put us out of business. I thought it was completely going to destroy us, you know. But the fact was, the boats were being burned and I didn't burn them. Someone else was like, oh yeah, watch this. We'll burn your boats down with this lawsuit. Took years, you know. And I said, no, you know, because there's a solution. There's a solution. Momentum is a solution. Bravery is a solution. And I always knew, like, there's always somebody smarter that you have to get around. There's always somebody who has a skill that you don't have that you have to get around. There's always a brave decision that if you want to move forward. Now, look, every brave decision, I went to my wife and said, look, I want to grow this company, but let's be clear, it's gonna be war. And are you gonna be okay that I go to war? And you know what, like sometimes I'm going to come back like I've been shot in war and like I'm going to need a little patching up, right? We're going to have to do this together mentally. We'll never get there. My wife says, yeah, I trust you. Let's do it. If she said no, I would have never did it. I never did it because if you don't have a couple that's moving together, you're moving apart. I just did a relationship training with my wife. It was beautiful. It's amazing. It's saving marriages today. It's helping people today. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, tag it here. I'll put on my team, if they're still on, we'll put the link right here for you and watch. Same thing when I went to start CEO Warrior and grow the largest training and implementation organization on the planet, the best in the world for changing lives. I made Deca Millionaires. I did sell the company in 2020, but I did that, right? And went to my wife and said, like, are we going to do this? Are we going to change an industry? Same thing now. Like we agreed, myself, Aaron, my wife, we agreed to change the world. Why? Because if we don't, we fall back to scarcity and poverty. We think, oh, you know, people won't do this. People don't do these things. No. People want to be around brave, strong people. People want to learn from really smart people. People want to move past fear. Because when you break past fear, you're breaking through poverty. And if you look back at the poverty and scarcity you have, I guarantee it could go back generations to generations. Generations for people. It can. And like, you don't have to do it. I don't care what level you're at right now. I don't care if you're level 80, 90, 30. I know 30-year-olds right now, level 30, that are multi-millionaires. You know why? Because they can be. Because they can be. Because they learned, you know what? If I get around someone who knows how to do this. It's like, imagine that there's clay, right? And like someone's like, see this? This clay is no good. Are you good? Can we like rip it out? And you're like, yeah, rip it out. And I'm like, you see this clay? This is like super fuel. This is superhuman clay. Yeah, I want it. Now all of a sudden, how fast does it happen? Fast. How quick do things change? Quick. The minute you change these things, the minute you shift your beliefs, why do we get the results we get at Food Dog? Simple. I've been doing it for decades. That's why. Because everything is a human behavior of some kind. And you're either programming your behavior with an excuse or with fuel. I hear people complain about the gas. 2023 is going to be amazing. For some. For a lot of people, they're going to die in 2020. Not physically die, they're going to mentally die. They'll be fatigued. They'll be scared shit. They won't win. Their company's going to suffer. They're going to panic. Why? Because they're not building themselves. They're not breaking through. So just ask yourself, if you're not where you want to be, what is holding you back? What's holding you back? Type it in the chat bar if you're brave enough. What scarcity is holding you back? What poverty is holding you back? What thinking is holding you back? And then who do you owe it to break past this? Who do you owe it to? Who? You? Your wife? Your children? Future legacy? Like, who do you owe it to that you should finally step up and break past the pains of the past of what's holding you back? Most of your thoughts are not your thoughts, everybody. Like, think about it. Since I worked with so many business people, a lot of times they're mom pop business and stuff. And I'm like, whose thought is that? Like, is that your thought or your dad's thought? Is that your thought or your mom's thought? Because you're not your mom or your dad. They're not living in a world where like iPhones and you could speak and things happen. And like, they didn't live in this world. This is a new world. You have to think the way it takes for you to think to get to where you want to go. Look, summarize it. Where you're at, where you want to go, remove the resistance, think complete. You have to have a new level of thinking to get there. But how do you get it? Like a meditation? Come on. I know people waking up every morning at 5 a.m. meditating. They're no further than they were before they started meditating. People tell, now I'm not saying not to meditate, but they say, I've been meditating for 10 years every morning. You're still broke. You're still broke. Maybe it's the wrong meditation. Maybe nobody taught you what to do. You meditate to make a decision, internal or external, period. That's what meditation is. You're making a subconscious or a conscious decision of some kind. Either something is reprogramming, rethinking, putting a new system in place, or you're making a conscious decision. That's it. That's what meditation. It's a time of reflective decision changing, period. Okay? Now, it could happen consciously. It could happen subconsciously. It could happen superconsciously. It could. But the fact is, people are doing routines that aren't moving them any forward. They're not moving them forward. They're like, I've read 1,000 books. You're still broke. Don't read no more books. What did you execute on the book? Was it the right book at the right time? Did you execute on the right thing? Can you think? See, once I started investing in my think, that's why I wrote this book. I'm not here to sell you a book. Shit, I'll send you a free book. That's why I wrote the book, was because after selling 2 companies the last 5 years, I stood back and I said, why is it that people are struggling? Why are they suffering in their relationship? Why are they suffering in their health? Why are they not getting the wealth they deserve? Why are they not getting to where they want? And it all comes back to this. They're thinking. It comes back to how they're thinking, how they were programmed. And when I look at it, I say, it does not have to be that way. It doesn't. I promise you. It doesn't have to be that way. But you have to be around. You have to be around and be in a world of somebody who is... I'm talking to you not because I'm some guy that like, oh, I had it all figured out and like, I never struggled and everything was just spoon-fed to me. Nothing was spoon-fed to me. Nobody was feeding me at all. Ever. I was never spoon-fed. I hunted. I went and got and became. That's a distinction you have to have, because if you're waiting for someone to spoon feed, you're probably not going to come. But I promise you this, every single one of you, if you choose, you can have more, you could do more, you could be more, and you can make a difference. You can make a big difference. That's the only reason why we want to make people superhuman, is because when you're there, you'll then go help other people, and you'll do a video Sunday night and that will help people, and someone else will do a video and that will help people. I don't look for a smooth journey. I look for growth through the journey, because I've learned there's ebbs and flows. Man, when things are going amazing, there's something that's going to balance your butt out real fast. Can you relate? Type in relate in the chat bar if you can relate. Like things are going really good and then you get punched in the face. And then you make a decision. The decision is, do I want to stay punched in the face or do I want to get up? Now, see, what nobody tells you is that, oh, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. No, that's stupid. That's stupid. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's the training you decide to do when you get up. Like, you know what I mean? It's not how many times you... If I get punched in the face, knocked down, I don't get back up. I get up and I want to learn how to not get punched in the face again. I want to learn how to move different, block different, right? So many people playing this like average safe game, you know? And I get it. Look, let me be real. It's intimidating. It's intimidating. I built companies. I never partnered or took equity in companies. And when I started researching it for the last couple of years, it was so intimidating because I never did it. I know how to take something from zero to win, 0 to hero. I know how to do that. I know how to market it and sell it and operate it and create movements out of it and change people's lives better than anybody I know. I know how to do that. But I didn't know how to partner with companies and serve them because people don't want to tell you. So you know what you do? You figure it out. You find people that did it. You connect the dots. You put the pieces together. So, all right. You've been with me for 42 minutes. I'm super excited. All of you hanging out. I hope you find massive value. I know I'm really intense, but I'm still going to I'm going to go do some training of some kind now and learn something. Here's the deal. If I can help any of you, okay, you need me to send you a book, I'll send you a book on me. And we send books out all the time just to help you out. If there's a free training I have on, we did a training on chaos, a training on certainty, a training on relationships. We have a training on a money cure. If you need that, it's free. I will give it to you just to serve you. If you have someone else, I'll serve them. We have a free Facebook group. It costs you nothing to get in there. We'll serve you in there. Love you guys. Hope wherever you're coming in from, if it's Sunday or you're another part of the world, it's the other day already. If you found value in this, would you share it? If you found value, type value in the chat bar. And also, like, tell me what you need me to solve for you on your thinking, your relationships, or how to become superhuman, or whatever you need to do in your health or your energy field. Whatever you need, if I have the skill, I will share it and serve you. If I don't, I'll find one of my friends and bring them forward. So, all right, everybody. Boom. Love you. Have an amazing night.